Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Maureen Mooney Presents. I'm Maureen Mooney, a longtime Merrimack resident, your host for today. The topic of today's program is something that's all abuzz this time of year at Merrimack High School, and that is basketball. Here with us today is David Roy, a basketball player at Merrimack High School, who will tell us a few more things about the hype around hoop. So I introduce to you MHS varsity basketball player. Yes, he's a Tomahawk, and he's my nephew, David Roy. Welcome, David.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, I understand that you love basketball. So take us back to the beginning. How did you get started liking basketball?
So I started playing basketball as soon as I could walk, and I've played ever since. In first grade, I played in an instructional league, learning the skills and creating the love for the game with my friends and parents. And then in third grade, I joined MYA and travel basketball. MYA was the first time that there was real games with a real score, which was really, I remember it was really exciting for me to actually play a real game. And Merrimack is MYA, and so they're just teams within Merrimack. And then for travel, you play teams outside of Merrimack, like surrounding teams like Bedford and Londonderry. And then my team also played teams from Massachusetts as well. And I did that up until 7th grade, and then in 7th grade I started playing for the middle school team, which was very exciting because that was the first time I could really play for my school, because up until then it was a separate association, it was travel, and at this point it was school basketball, and you could invite your teachers and your friends from school to come watch your games, and that was a really exciting environment for me to start playing.
Wow, now that sounds like a great start. What teams do you play for now?
So now I'm a member of the MHS varsity team, which includes summer league and fall ball. I'm also playing on an AAU team called One Dream, and that is in the spring and the fall.
Oh, that's great. Now, a lot of great props here on this studio today, all highlighting basketball, the big theme of this show, and also a big theme at Merrimack High School right now. This trophy here, now what's the significance of this?
So this trophy, it's very special to me, actually. So it's a trophy for my travel team from a tournament in Tewksbury. It was a Thanksgiving tournament that happened every year up from like 3rd grade till like 6th grade. And my team always played in it, and we always played really hard, and we loved that tournament. And one year we ended up winning it, and it was a really exciting experience for my team because I'm still friends with those guys, and we all remember winning it that year.
Oh, that's great. Now, that's a lot of hoop that you've discussed so far. Why do you love it so much?
Well, I love basketball so much because, one, it's a great workout. You're always moving very fast-paced. It's a very fast-paced game. And then also, off the court, there's a lot of things that you can learn and get better at, not just in practice and in games. So just in your driveway with the ball, you can be working on your skills and getting better. Also, it's a fun game to play competitively with your school, as well as just pick up at the YMCA with your friends, which is a big reason why I love basketball. Absolutely.
So much to like about the game, that's for sure. What's your favorite part of playing in a game? Is it scoring?
Although scoring is great, we all love scoring, I would say no. And my favorite part of basketball is getting a steal or a defensive stop, because it's almost like the crowd is expecting to see people score the ball. But when you get a really good defensive stop, it's exciting, and the crowd isn't used to it, and it's rare, and it gets the crowd excited, as well as your team. It gives your team energy and gives you the momentum. So I think my favorite part is definitely the defensive end.
Oh, and when you mentioned what the crowd likes, and boy, do I enjoy being at the games and watching them, so do your parents. It's so exciting, and it brings a lot of community spirit to the court. Being a Tomahawk, you represent Merrimack out there. Now, you mentioned a term earlier, and I'm not familiar with it. It's AAU ball. So tell us how that works.
Yeah, so AAU basketball is it's regional, And so my team, One Dream, we play in Bedford, or we practice in Bedford, but anyone from any town can come and try out. And so we have kids from Keene and Bedford and Londonderry. I'm from Merrimack. I'm on the team. Some of my buddies are on the team. So we have kids from really all around. And so once you're on an AAU team, you have tournaments during the season every weekend. And so you play some pool play, and then you play for a championship in that tournament every weekend, which is a really fun part of AAU. Another thing to mention about AAU is that it creates community around different towns, not just Merrimack. And so when you see me at Merrimack games talking to the other players, the opposing team's players, as if we're good friends before and after the game, it must be because we know each other from AAU, and we could have been teammates, or we could have played each other in AAU, and that's how I know the players from other teams.
Oh, that's great sportsmanship. Now, don't take this next question the wrong way, but do you travel a lot? And by that, I don't mean this. What I mean is, do you go any place that's interesting?
Yeah, definitely. So in AAU, you travel to a lot of fun places. And one place I went recently is Mohegan Sun, which is a casino in Connecticut, and I had a tournament there. It was a really fun time for me and my teammates, but it was also really tough competition because there was teams from all around the country, even outside of the country. We played a team from Canada, and they're out there speaking French on the court, it was really interesting, and we were all surprised. And it was also an advantage because we had no idea what they were saying, and in basketball it's important to hear what the other team is saying to see if you can understand their play or anything, but we had no idea what they were saying, so that was very interesting. So yeah, I've traveled to Mohegan Sun. I also travel a lot to a place called The Track in Boston. It's at the New Balance headquarters, and it's actually right next to a Celtics facility. And one time at a tournament at The Track, we saw Robert Williams walk right into the facility. He's the center for the Celtics right now, and that was a really cool experience.
Speaking of the Celtics, I'm guessing, and I know that you're a big Celtics fan. In fact, we have a picture on the screen of you and your dad at a Celtics game, and this was taken relatively recently. How are they going to do this year, and who is your favorite player on the Boston Celtics?
Yes, I'm definitely a huge Celtics fan. As you can see, the other night I just went to a game. It was a great game, and then I ended up sitting right behind the NBC game recorder, and after Jaylen Brown dunked it, he turned around and faced the crowd, and me and my dad were right there getting all excited and hype, and that was really funny because a bunch of my friends and family texted me right after. They're like, "Oh my gosh, were you just at the Celtics game? We saw you on TV." So that was pretty cool. Yeah, so as far as this season with the Celtics, I think they're going to have a great season. They have some coaching staff changes and injuries to adjust to, but after that, I think we're going to have a really good year this year. Last year we made it to the finals, and I think we could do it again. And you talked about my favorite player on the Celtics. Like I said when I went to the game after he dunked it, Jaylen Brown is definitely my favorite player because I think he's underappreciated, and I think he adds a lot to the Celtics with the way he finishes around the rim and the way he moves the ball really well.
Excellent. Now tell me about fall ball. What is that?
So fall ball is every fall for your varsity team, and it consists of D1 and D2 teams, mostly D1, and you play once every Sunday, and it's a great preseason preview for the regular season. So you go in not knowing how teams have changed, how kids have gotten better or worse or grown. Maybe someone grew 6 inches, maybe someone got a lot better. Teams change every year, and it's a great way to get a feel for the league before it actually starts. It's also a great way to build some team chemistry going into your new season with a new team.
Oh, that's great. Now, out of all of these teams and leagues, which one is your most important, and how do you get ready for it?
So my most important league is definitely the regular season of MHS varsity ball because it's the most exciting for me because there's the biggest crowd, and your whole town is really there counting on you to entertain them and play hard and play with good sportsmanship, and that's what it's really all about. And I think there's AAU and there's summer league, but it's just not the same. And the winter regular season is definitely the season that's most important to me. So all these other seasons that I play, I love, but I'm always trying to get stronger and faster and more skilled for the regular season of MHS varsity ball.
Absolutely. Now, you've played for so long. You must have played in hundreds of games. Is there any game that really stands out in your mind, and what happened to make it so memorable?
Yeah, so there's definitely a game that sticks out to me. Last year, it was my first ever varsity game. It was the first game of the season, and I was starting point guard, and I was very nervous before the game. It was away at Alvern, which is in Hudson, and there was a huge crowd. It was the biggest crowd I'd ever played in front of, and we ended up winning that game at the very last second at the buzzer. We gave it to Jack. We were down 1, and he put it in with a second left, and then we ended up winning the game by 1 point. And after that, the Merrimack fans rushed the court and celebrated with us on the court. So that was one heck of a first ever varsity experience for me. That was definitely a memorable game.
I'll say, what a great memory. Now, David, with all of that basketball and getting into shape, do you leave time for other activities?
Yes, I do leave time for other activities. I have a lot of schoolwork. I'm in some honors classes, so I do make time for that as well. I did soccer up until freshman year of high school, which I loved, but basketball kind of took over priority. And then I also am in Interact Club right now, which does community service, and they also help out with the Rotary Club with my aunt here. And I'm also involved at my church. I play guitar on Sunday, twice a month. And I'm also in National Honor Society, which just did their first community service event the other weekend with raking leaves.
Yes, congratulations on all these accomplishments. This is great. Now, it sounds like you have a busy schedule like several others your age. How do you balance school and work and clubs, basketball, and hanging out with your friends?
It's tough. It's definitely tough. I have to have good time management skills. Basketball takes a very high priority because I love it so much, but all my activities are important to me, and I definitely make time for them as well. For example, I have to utilize my study halls at school to do homework and schoolwork instead of just playing on my phone because I need to make time for after school for other activities. And then I also definitely make time to hang out with my friends as well because it helps with the basketball team to have great chemistry with your friends and be playing out there with your best friends. And it's very important to have friends in high school.
Oh, that's great. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here with this next question. How's the team looking for this year, and how many wins can we expect? That means your fan base here in this studio and those who will attend the game either in person or watching online. How many wins can we expect?
Yeah, that's a good one. Last year it was very competitive with 5 wins. Like I said, we competed in every game, but we did end up with 5 wins. And this year I think we will also be competing in every single game. And I think we could expect anywhere from 8 to 12 wins, which is an improvement, and I'm confident about that.
Excellent. Now, David, what makes a good team? And as you answer this, there are several photos of you and your teammates that will roll through.
Yeah, so a good team comes from great chemistry and great ball movement and great effort. But, obviously you have to have individual skill, but that's not everything. And I think for Merrimack, our key is having great team chemistry, passing the ball well, and just knowing how each other plays really well. And I think that's a strong suit of all the players who play at Merrimack, and I think that's what makes us really good.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, what teams will be at the top of the division?
So this year you can definitely expect Bedford, Pinkerton, and Nashua North to be at the top there, but they're really stiff competition. But we've played them in summer league and fall league, and it's always been a very close game. And so you can definitely expect Merrimack to be up there too.
Oh, fantastic. Good to hear. Now, how can we, the viewers and fans, find your schedule and the location of the game and what time and what day the games will take place?
Great question. Yeah, so you can Google NHIAA, NHIAA basketball, and then you can click on Division One, because we are Division One, and then you can see our standings and schedules, and then we play 2 times a week, usually one home and one away, so you could probably come to a home game of ours about once a week.
And they are very exciting to attend, that's for sure. There's a lot of energy on that court, there is no doubt. What's the first part of the season looking like?
So we start off right away with Keene at their gym, so Keene away, which will be a long bus ride. It'll be a rematch from last year because we also played Keene at their gym and we ended up losing, which was unfortunate, but that means this year we're definitely going to have to win that and prove ourselves. And then after that, we have 3 more games before Christmas break, and they're all very winnable games, and I think that we could start the season with some great momentum headed into Christmas break. And then coming back to mention, we also play Nashua North, which is a very great team, and we play them at home. Coming off of some momentum, I think we'll have a great chance.
Oh, every season is always so exciting, and it's always great to get ready for it and anticipate, and it's good to be familiar with the other teams as well. You work so hard. Now, tell me about playing during COVID. What was that like?
Yeah, so COVID shut down when I was first in 8th grade, and I can tell you a story. Me and my friend and my dad were headed to an NCAA tournament game on that very day that the NBA shut down due to COVID. And on the way to Madison Square Garden, where the game was, we heard on the radio that our game was canceled, and as well as the entire NCAA tournament, it was all canceled. And so it was it was pretty sad. And we never got our money back for those tickets, but yeah, we had to turn around and we didn't know what to expect, but
right.
It was a long trip with COVID. So, and then to talk about Merrimack, that year's varsity team, when COVID shut down, actually got their season cut short. They had a really good season that year, and they actually made it to the semifinals. And then they never got to play that game because it got cut off. But they had a great season that year, so they should be proud of that. When I first got into high school, my freshman year, we were lucky to have a season, but we did have to play with masks, and we did have to play with limited fans, which was unfortunate. And it was really hard to breathe with the masks on, and it was a distraction. You had to pull it up and pull it down,
sure,
and worry about the refs getting on you with your mask being down and trying to breathe.
Yeah.
And then also our parents couldn't go to our away games, and our home games were also very thin. So it was a weird experience, and that'll go in history books for a crazy time about how youth sports were affected by this pandemic. Yeah. So it was very hard to play during COVID.
No doubt. Isn't it amazing? COVID affected so many things over the past few years, including youth sports. Now, tell me about the coaching staff at MHS.
Yeah, we love our coaching staff at MHS. I just actually the other day went with my friend and the coaching staff to a Plymouth State and Rivier game, a basketball game, to see some local college talent. And so that's just an example of how they help us out with showing us talent. And they really want what's best for us. They constantly work all year round to make us the best that we can be for our season, because we care about it very much, and so do they. So we have Coach Austin, who's our head coach, and we have Coach Rich, who's an assistant coach and also the junior varsity coach. And we also have Coach Gendron, who's an assistant coach. And you might recognize the name Gendron because his name is actually up on the banner at Merrimack Gym for being the Gatorade Player of the Year. And in 2012, 2013, then he also won Merrimack a championship around those times. So,
wow.
So he knows what it's like for championship basketball. He knows what it takes for a team to get to that point. And I think that's a really important part of our coaching staff.
Absolutely. What a great group of mentors for you. That's fantastic. Now, before we wrap up, believe it or not, we're almost out of time, but before we wrap up, any closing thoughts?
Yes, definitely. First of all, thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Merrimack TV, for having me, and as well as thank you, Merrimack TV, for filming all my games. It's a great service you do for the community to allow friends and family from home to watch our games. I thank you very much for that. I'd also like to invite everyone watching to come out to one of the boys' varsity basketball games this year. We're going to have a great season, and we love to play for a crowd. It makes us play a lot better, believe it or not, and we'll definitely give you a good night and entertain you. So again, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for being on the show, and congratulations to you and your teammates for the season you had, and good luck in the season ahead. We'll all be rooting for you, and you have a fantastic fan base right here in this studio. As you know, I've been to several games. I plan to go to several more this season. Justin and Nick and Colin are always at the games and talking about Tomahawk spirit, so you have a great fan base here. And remember, you represent the whole Merrimack community out there on that court, so we're all rooting for the Tomahawks. Thank you again, David. Good luck to you and your teammates. And thank you for watching.